Got to start with the chef. You got to start with the chef. Monday night in San Francisco, Steph hangs 50 on the Atlanta Hawks. Now, going into the game, I was like, oh, this is a tough one here. Styles make fights stylistically. You look at the length and the athleticism in the front court for the Hawks. I thought Capella, Collins, I thought they'd kind of mash us on the glass. You see, the undersized Warriors, and they'd have to shoot the ball well to stay in the game. Well, Steph did. Steph did, right? But I think you saw in the first half what that Hawks offense can do and how it can pull. I mean, the Warriors defense was spread apart like an OnlyFans, right? The distance they were having to cover in the closeouts was completely compromising and pulling apart the defense, I should say. And it starts with Trae Young, right? They threw a lot of different looks at him defensively. They blitzed him. They switched, they hedged, right? They were doing all these different looks. You have to stay dynamic when guarding Trae, but his gravity is real. His ability to manipulate the defense and then kick to the weak side. But it wasn't just that. It was also the size and the paint. They had to help down on Gallinari, help down on Collins, help down on Capella, right? And so they were constantly trying to recover out to their shooters, and you saw the Hawks jump out to a 15-point lead in the first half. Now, obviously, you saw what Steph did to DeAndre Hunter and then Red Velvet, right? And I think that's kind of a weakness. You see the styles matchup, and I didn't maybe take that into account because the Hawks, they don't have a guard defender, right? Herter and Trae Young in the backcourt, you can't really start them and defend well. DeAndre Hunter's a very good defender, but he's a wing. He's kind of a big forward. To ask him to chase Steph around off ball through those screens, I thought that was a mistake. But then I'm looking at their roster, and I'm like, oh, they don't really have another option. Remember they went and got Chris Dunn a year ago and he didn't work out? Is he in Memphis? Is he even in the league anymore? But if you pay attention, Steph, when you put a big, long guy on Steph, he usually abuses them through screens. It's too hard for them to get through the screens. The guys that bother Steph, if you can call it bothering Steph, is the smaller guys that can stay attached, the Eric Bledsoes of the world, right? These little guys that can get through screens, navigate, and then still be physical. So he cooked him. He cooked him, man. But my guy, Rohan, Hawks fan, he was asking me like, yo, what's good? What's good with my Hawks? They lost again last night in Utah. And, do they lack leadership? I had a breakdown of the game yesterday on Patreon like I always do. And I had asked the question, like, who y'all got right now? Trae Young or Dame Lillard, right? And, it's an opportune time maybe to ask this question with the way Dame is struggling. But to me, I'm watching Trae Young, and it's clear to me that he is playing chess, not checkers now out there. It took him about 3 seasons. He started to figure it out last year, right? How to balance out being a lead guard and getting others involved. And meanwhile, Dame in year 10 is kind of just playing the same way, right? And so, I was throwing around that question, and you've heard Trae and the Hawks talk about how they are kind of having a letdown right now because the games just don't mean anything. Now that we've tasted the Eastern Conference Finals, I can't get up for a Monday night against Steph Curry. Well, you probably should have. And hey, Trae played well. Right? But what I'm getting at here with the Dame thing is I think Trae at this point is a better basketball player than Damian Lillard as far as getting everybody involved in the different layers of the game. But where he might be missing is Dame is the better emotional leader. Even though Dame's struggling, and we're going to talk about Portland here a little bit later, right? I think that Atlanta is struggling with some leadership, and I do buy into there's a couple elements, right? The schedule, which everybody's quick to point out. And then also I do think that they are struggling to be motivated at this point in the season, this young team, right? Because it appeared like they let their foot off the pedal when they had the Warriors on the ropes. And yeah, man, look, the game flipped late in the third quarter and then they never recovered, right? But the fact is, Steph Curry has snatched the souls of many a team. Is there a player in the league that once he's hot and going, does one player demoralize a team or have the ability to demoralize a defense and a team any quicker than Steph Curry? Because at a certain point, it becomes like, what's the point? Even when the coverage is perfect and you've defended him perfectly and he's still hitting threes, right? That can really break the spirit of a team. And I think you saw that in the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter of that Hawks-Warriors game. I think we got to throw Kerr a lot of credit. I spoke on it a little bit last time. We got to throw Kerr a lot of credit here because, look, he is becoming dynamic and he's learning to coach the emotion of the game. He'd been so rigid with his rotations, and you saw him leave Steph in to start the fourth quarter to deliver the knockout punch then, right there and then. Don't let them come creeping back into the game, then have to put Steph back in at the 6-minute mark, and it's a 12 or 14-point game. No, knock them out right away. Kerr's coaching the emotions of the game. Hell, you even saw Kuminga in there in the first quarter. I was like, oh, okay, Steve, right? And so I think that that's a big deal, and it's kind of getting overlooked in the success because, yeah, Steph's going to overshadow everything, right? But I mean, listen, 50 and 10 assists, not rebounds. He almost had the triple-double, but 10 assists on a 50 ball, that's crazy. A third MVP at 33 years old for a 6'3" guard. Man, you know, I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. It's so early, but I think I heard the networks, the media guys talking about Steph, KD, right? Like the third MVP to me elevates him over Kevin Durant. Now, to some of you, you're going to put Steph over Kevin Durant already. And I think his resume, that's fine. I'm not even arguing that. I'm just saying, to me, that would clearly elevate him over Kevin Durant in this era. That's right. I think there's three guys. Well, Giannis, I don't know. Do you consider Giannis in their generation? I think Giannis is like a younger generation, right? But you got KD, Steph, and LeBron, right? Those are the three guys of this era. And you can argue however you want to put them, right? That's fine. There's an argument for any order of these guys. But I think that a third MVP would clearly put Steph above Durant. I say all that to say how fun would it be if these two not only battle for the MVP all season long, but somehow, some way meet in the finals. Right? That would be a dream for the NBA. The star power, the storylines, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take care of this homestand, right? Let's take care of this homestand. The Wolves tonight, they always seem to play the Warriors tough. Is it a Wiggins revenge game? Is it a D'Lo revenge game? I don't know. I just want to see Ant-Man's post-game interview, right? But I think the big game for Warriors fans we've all circled is Chicago, Friday night. Vucevic kind of got the yips. Mark it down now. Alchemy curse, right? Vooch has had the yips. He hasn't played well. You know he's going to go off against the Warriors Friday night. He'll probably have 30 and 10. We'll see. We'll see. Moving on. The Jokic, Markieff Morris incident. Ejection. Okay. First of all, you're down, 17 or 18? There's no need to take that foul. That's the first point, right? There's no need. It's not a close game. It's over. Second point, you don't cheap shot somebody and then turn your back to them. So I've heard that, Jokic is a coward and all this stuff. No, Jokic was going to charge him face to face. The problem was Morris turned his back after a shady foul, right? And so, yeah, man, like Jimmy better watch himself. I know Jimmy prides himself on being a tough guy, and I'm sure he is relatively tough for NBA standards. Jokic's brothers, they don't play in the NBA. In fact, they're not from this country. I'm stating the obvious here, but Jimmy, you got to watch out, man. He's gonna wake up with a horse head in his bed. And I'm not talking about Rachel Nichols. You know what I'm talking about here. So yeah, man, Jokic showed that he felt bad about the incident, and we'll see. The Morris brothers have a long list of incidences off the court, so hopefully it doesn't escalate. But the way I see it is, if you're gonna swipe Jokic and hard foul him like that, then you better be prepared to stand face to face with him after the foul. So when you I don't think Jokic was like, let me snuff him from behind. I think Morris turned his back, tried to walk away like you ain't finna do nothing. Wrong. I'll tell you what, if I'm Denver, I pay for Jokic's fine when he was suspended a game, as he should have been. You can't allow that stuff. That's fine. But if I'm Denver, I pay his fine, and I'm like, good job. Don't let other teams try to punk us. Continue to set the tone as the leader.